Welcome to episode 245 of the Necronama.com.
You know what's really scary? Book bans. Long a tool of authoritarians, book bans are a direct threat to our freedom to read. That's why Library Foundation SD, Brooklyn Public Library, and other partners across the country have launched Books Unbanned to fight this evil. This campaign makes frequently banned or challenged books available through a digital catalog to young people across the U.S., including states with increasing book bans. Like your local library, it's completely free to sign up. Want to learn more, including how you can help increase access to the books we love? Visit libraryfoundationsd.org.
Fright Rags has been bringing you the best in horror apparel and accessories since 2003, offering a wide range of products for your favorite creature features, slasher flicks, and cult classics. Officially licensed collections include titles like John Carpenter's The Thing, The Evil Dead, Creepshow, Jaws, the Halloween franchise, and so many more. Head on over to fright-rags.com. Make sure to sign up for their SMS and email newsletter to never miss a drop. Listeners get 10% off when they use the code NECRO10, all caps, at checkout. I am James Sabata, horror author, screenwriter, co-host of the podcast you're listening to right now, and I identify heavily with this movie, because if I was a werewolf, I would definitely get run over right away. It's another episode without Don Guillory. I didn't want to bring this up to you guys, but it's our budget. We just can't afford him every single episode. So joining me today instead, Allison and Ian Lovecraft are back. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks. It's good to be back on here, man.
Would you care to tell our listeners a bit about yourselves in case they haven't heard your past episodes?
Allison, will you do the honors? Because, you know, my mental state right now would not be one to give us positive stuff about us. At least.
We live in Las Vegas. We do a lot of shit. We're in like pagan, witchy communities and horror communities and all that stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Fantastical. And I miss you doing panels with me at conventions that nobody shows up to when there's just 3 people in the audience. Those
nice. So I was told actually last night by a friend of ours who is moving to Phoenix area because she's going this weekend actually to look at houses. And she was like, yeah, you guys can, I'll have all these, like, you can just stay with me. I don't care. You can come down and come to the Ren Fair, go to the conventions and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I was like, a buddy of ours wants us to do some panels with him down there. She was like, oh, see, there you go, you have a place to stay now. I was like, damn it.
The world is conspiring against you. Fantastic. Right. Good news for me. But yeah, I don't think I've told this story on here, so I want to talk about the first time I met you.
Oh boy.
And how totally normal our interactions were. We did some panels. You guys were there. You had some great cosplays. I was obsessed with them. I was in one of my manic modes, so I made you my new best friends. And then
without telling us,
I didn't tell you. I was just like, oh, they're my new best
interaction.
Friends.
Just those people, my best friends now.
So like you guys, I don't remember who you were in line for, but you were getting a photo op with somebody, and I was getting a photo op with, or I was getting a mask signed by Ray Park. That's right. And I looked over and I saw you, so I just took pictures of you from a distance and sent them to you. Totally normal things that people do for one another.
Yep.
We were either in line to meet Pee Wee Herman or Paul Rubens, or it was the Robin Taylor Lord, the guy who played Penguin.
I think it was him.
Oh, it was Robin Taylor. You're right. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, so we were in line to see him because he's really cool. But we met both of those guys at that convention.
Yeah.
Best penguin ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Him and the Riddler on that show, they're so great. We love their relationship.
Wanted their buddy romance spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the comedy spinoff of just their antics. Like I was waiting for it. It's kind of like I wanted the house renovation from the dudes from Halloween.
Nice. I still want a full romance between them. Like Gotham is my favorite iteration of Batman. I'll just throw that out right now. It turns out I don't like Batman at all. So getting rid of Batman made Gotham amazing to me. And everything in it is just so fucking well done. And I can see why the comic lovers might not agree with me. But as a series on its own, it's just it's my pinnacle of what the Batman universe can be. But I never knew how much I wanted the Riddler and Penguin to fall in love with each other until I watched this show. And I still absolutely stand by that. And I think it would have been amazing.
I shipped a lot of Batman characters. I never put them together before till that show. I was like, oh, missed opportunities.
I mean, even getting to the part where you name your dog after the other one, like that's so beautiful. Like I'm like that relationship was there. You guys just didn't explore it properly. But
I like some of the weird stuff they did with like how they'd have them longing for each other, even though they're like against each other. They're in the background. I was like, that's like real stuff where like you do something and you feel like this person fucked you over, and then you said something like "fuck you, I never want to see you again," but you didn't mean it. You just said it in the heat of the moment, and then that person took it as you meant it, and then like, you know, they don't whatever, and it's like, well, fuck, I'm the Penguin. I'm too good. I'm too proud to apologize, which is what would have solved a lot of like they could have lived happily ever after if the Penguin would have apologized at the one point, but he was too proud to do that.
I'll be honest, with this podcast ending now, I'm like, damn, I should just do a Gotham watch along podcast. That'd be so amazing. But don't let me, because I need to like write and do stuff with my life. But
I'm supposed to do a Twin Peaks watch along podcast. Supposedly, that's what I heard. The rumors.
No, it wasn't Twin Peaks.
Was it? Oh no, it wasn't. It was Big Love. That's right. We're watching.
But I said we could do Twin Peaks as well, though, with her.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, Big Love. Watch Big Love and.
Well, if it happens, send me the link and we'll pop it in this episode, and then people can go check that out. But yeah, so I feel like that's very similar. Like I was in my line longing for you guys, and you were like, "Oh, I hate that guy," and so we were a Penguin and Riddler kind of relationship going on, and then you needed a place to stay, and I was like, "Oh, well, my in-laws have this rental property."
So hold on.
Yeah, we have another insert. We have an insert here, both of us, because I'm guessing we both thought about the same thing at the same time.
Sweet.
I don't know. I just know it was a little different on our end.
About when this picture came to my phone, or I got tagged in a post on Instagram by this writer, you know, saying some creepy shit like, "Here I am standing in a line, you know, half a football field away, longingly watching you guys." Didn't actually say that.
Taking pictures.
But it was hilarious. Like when we saw it, I was like, "Look!" And then so we're like looking around, and like we see him way over there, and it was just fucking hilarious. Like, like we're socially awkward, and I'm really glad James was in a manic thing that day, because
thank God for a mental illness.
I know, right? Because it probably would have taken 2 more years for us to ever.
We'd like stopped going by then too.
Yeah, and then COVID would have happened.
You know, and then the crazy part is it had to be. My phone did not take good pictures at that point, and the way I zoomed in to get to you guys, I'm just thinking like this had to be like a grainy fucking like.
It was.
Yeah, like just like a grainy. I'm watching you. You know, like. Fantastic.
And then, we had to check out from our Airbnb that day, and we had the next day off, but we just didn't book the other day because we're used to just going back after the con. And I was like, well, yeah. And you were like, oh, do you guys want to like me and Dawn? We're gonna go for drinks after. You guys want to like go? And we're like, well, we got to drive back because are out of our thing. And you're like, I was like, we'd stay. I was like, I tried to extend it, but it was already booked, so. That was like kind of our excuse of like, why we can't do this. We have to drive back. And then you're like, well, just so happens that I have this house you can stay in. And of course, my non-self preservation. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Absolutely. We wanted to stay anyway. Let me go check with the people we're here with to see if they want to stay too. Like, are they driving back, or we all came together? We're leaving together. You're going to leave us in the hands of the stranger in his house? Great. Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
The answer to that question is yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
Little rental property we call Murder Dome.
Murder Dome. This is how Murder Dome got its famous start.
I've heard rumors we're making a video game of Murder Dome soon. That's a real thing. I'm not kidding.
Amazing.
I would love to see it like Castlevania style, like side scroller, like
oh my god,
8 or 16-bit.
I think it'll be like PS1, PS2 graphics somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's still really good. But imagine it as like a little side scroller though. You're like going through and you have to go up the fucking stairs, and then you go into the bathroom, and then you get into that one spot and you hear somebody talking and you think they're like right behind your shoulder, but they're actually downstairs or some bullshit.
Dude, that was the weirdest part because the house is a dome for anyone who doesn't understand what we're talking about. And literally, if you stood in the living room downstairs, the way sound traveled, it would like go up the wall and around the dome. And when you were in the bathroom upstairs, it would come down and like you could speak right into somebody's ear. And it was so fucking freaky. And there were so many times I'd be up there peeing and like my father-in-law would be in the living room talking to me and I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing in here? But nobody was in there. You know?
Yeah. And then you didn't get the nice when we left and went to go talk to the other people about, hey, do you want to, we got offered to stay or whatever. I about nearly got my ass chewed out of like, what the fuck are you doing? Did you just agree to this? We were gonna fucking, Ian was like, do you not watch horror movies with me on like a daily fucking basis? What are you doing? And I was just like, what? I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
I just love how this was all a normal thing to me. I was like, oh yeah, people need a place to stay. Perfect. Come to my weird place on the side of a mountain with nothing
in
around,
the middle
down
of
a
the
one-lane
desert.
dirt road in the middle of the desert. Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up convincing me about it, and I was just like, okay, I'm cool. I was like, the worst thing that could happen is I get sold into the sex trade.
Yep.
I was like, but if I just get murdered, that means that I don't have to go to work. I don't have to worry about paying bills and all this stuff. Yeah. So I'm okay. I guess like that is the best case scenario that could happen.
Yeah, he came to terms with like I could die. It was more of like I really don't want to get put into the sex trade. Like that's the one thing. Like anything else, whatever. It's acceptable.
So hilarious.
But yeah, and he very graciously let us stay in this amazing place, and it is like it is a dome out in the middle of nowhere, but it was so awesome, this place. And Allison and another friend that we had there with, they went to go to Jack in the Box and was gone for like 45 minutes. So I'm here alone in the house for 45 minutes, and it's like literally somebody could still be in the house at this point because James just brought us out there and left. But he went home. It's not like he dumped us out there. Like we followed him out there. We noticed around the house, and then he left. But that doesn't mean somebody could be hiding, right? So
that's how they do it in the movie. They drive away.
Dawn left earlier.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I got to go back from when we were hanging out with drinks, and Ian's like, that's when he's going to set the house up for the kills. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yep. I told her though, I was like, what they don't realize is like they're on the other end of the horror movie. Like we're the people that are like stalking them down to kill them. Like we set up the situation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I'm there for like 45 minutes, looking around, making sure, and then it's like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like set up this thing so it looks like I'm missing, like I got murdered. So like I love
how this ties into the movie we're going to talk about later. But yeah, continue.
This is, we should have talked about this for Scream because this sounds more like a Scream setup. But I was like, I took my wallet, opened it up, and like laid it on the floor, like in
the middle
of the floor, and then I went and I hid, and I hid. And I'm like, where the fuck are these guys?
This Jack in the Box, I swear, was the only fucking thing open at that point in time because everyone was there. I was like, this is forever.
So I ended up moving like twice just because, at first I think I was upstairs by the balcony, and I was like, okay, I'll hide up here by the balcony window or doors. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm here for like 10 fucking minutes and my legs are getting tired. I need to go find somewhere to lay down. And so like I crawled back up underneath a bed or something. And it's like, and then again, I'm there like 20 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like maybe they got murdered. But nope, it just took a long time.
He's just in this house by himself, looking for better and upgrading to better hiding spots.
And I did take one of the knives from downstairs and sleep with it on the counter next to us in the bedroom when we went to bed that night. I was like, I know they tell you not to do that because you're literally could be given like a weapon. I was like, but if somebody's coming all the way here, getting into the fucking door because we locked the door, I was like, they have to already have a way that they're planning on killing us because, if not, then you're just fucking stupid.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like this extra knife here is just going to be an advantage for me. So, but we didn't die. We hung out with James several more times at different conventions doing panels. This really cool thing called Dark Side and Riverside.
Best con ever. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the worst thing was the placement. Like it was like 3 or 4 separate places. One of them was a theater, which was fucking amazing. Like,
I never made it to the theater.
Yeah, the theater was legit, and they had some. But the weird thing is, like, they had vendors and some people.
Oh wait, yeah, I did. That's where like the big ballroom was, basically, like their big panels. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
And then they had like 2 other places, but it was just weird how they did that instead of having it so close because you're talking like a couple blocks between some of them. So
I think there was the church and the library, and those were like 5 blocks from each other. It was so far.
Yeah, so that was like, I think that con could have did really well if they didn't have that against them because like they had really good people. The people running it, I mean, the people that we dealt with, they're cool, which was pretty much James and Alex or AJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did a bunch of panels. We've been out to Phoenix several times, and pretty much I think every time we've gone out there, we've seen James.
Mm-hmm.
Except for like, I think we went out like a super quick day trip one time for something and you couldn't make it out. But like every other time we go out for day trips or whatever, like we'll go out to lunch. He's, shown us Gus's fried chicken, which is almost ruined fried chicken for me because now like we don't have any of those here in Vegas. So it's like anytime I have fried chicken, it just don't taste that good.
That's crazy that Vegas doesn't have one. They're all over the place. Gus's, get on it. Do it. If Gus's would have just sponsored this show, I could have kept it going for another 5 years. No.
Gus's Fried Chicken brings you Necronami.com.
How ironic, because in the early days, we always talked about trying to get Popeyes to sponsor us. And now we're like,
I remember
Popeyes.
That chicken sandwich.
Yep. Back when people were stabbing each other over a chicken sandwich. Like, that doesn't seem like a real thing, but it happened.
Jack in the Box has one. They call it, I forget what it's actually called, but I call it the old mother clucker.
It's just the cluck.
It's just the cluck, but I call it the old mother clucker. And then they had a spicy one, and we'd call it a spicy mother clucker.
Nice.
But yeah, it tastes just like that Popeyes when Popeyes and all the other places that tried to be just like that. But it's great, and they still have it. And guess what? You don't have to get stabbed. I mean, you might get stabbed going to a Jack in the Box, but it's not going to be just for your chicken sandwich. They're probably going to take your curly fries too, or your egg rolls. And that's one of the craziest things about Jack in the Box is their egg rolls are better than like
Panda
Express. I'm like, this is like supposed. I mean, I understand that's fast food Asian food, but still, it's like you should be able to have a really good egg roll.
I don't think I've ever had a non-burnt egg roll at Panda. Like, I don't know if it's just the ones here, but anytime I go to them, my egg roll is like literally burnt, and I'm like, "What were you doing?"
Yeah, I don't get them. I just get the veggie spring rolls because they're so much better than the egg rolls, even though they're like a half the size.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jack in the Box has really good
chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich and egg rolls. So that's 2 sponsorships right there. So you should be good for the next decade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jack in the Box presents.
So really fast, my side of the story of while you were at the Dome goes like this.
Okay.
I dropped you off, and I went home, and I went to bed. That's it. And so it's so funny to me that all this stuff was going on because I literally just went. I went to my wife and I was like, "Oh, I let some friends stay at the Dome," and she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And that was it.
Oh, because you didn't tell her that you didn't know us.
Yeah, no, she found that out like
that
2
was
weeks later.
Yeah,
and then she was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I was like, "What was the response when they found out about that?"
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody, like when you tell the story, everybody on our end too, they're like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Hey, man, we like to live dangerously."
Yeah, I was just like, oh, people needed help. I had a resource. The end. And
But
my wife is like, "What is wrong with you?"
You did wake up and come back because we'd already left, and you came back to the house and walked into a kitchen with a note and a pair of scissors.
Well, you have to explain your cosplay when I met you for this.
Right. Yeah, because it was them, right? Is that what it
Us.
No,
Us, yeah.
The other one.
Jordan Peele's Us.
Us. Yeah. So that was one of the cosplays. So we already had like we were in the red jumpsuits and all the stuff like that for the others. But so that became kind of like a theme.
Yeah. James would say that me and him were the tethered, so we were tethered to each other because we kept seeing each other all over the fucking place. Like that whole weekend, like
there's 100,000 people there, and I saw you everywhere I went.
Yeah, like I had remembered him and Don from like the years before, from like doing their panels, but we had only been going for maybe a year or two before that. I can't remember now, but like I remember seeing like their panels, and so that's why like we were seeing their panels.
Yeah.
But like specifically this con, I remember I think the first time I saw him, like we were like in the bathroom, and I think he said something about like, "Hey man, I like your outfit" or something. Or something like that. He said about my cosplay, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And I remember his shirt, but honestly, I can't remember what your shirt was now. But I remember you had a really cool shirt on that day. Well, because it stood out. But yeah, I was like, man, I told Allison, I was like, because when we got up in there and it was your panel, because I can't remember if we remembered if it was or not. I was like, so you want to hear something really weird? She goes, yeah. What? And I'm like, when I was in the bathroom, this dude told me that my costume was really weird. It's like, and he's like standing at the wall urinal, or I'm like walking up, dick in hand, pretty much. And it's like, hey, and I was like,
he's like, man, I fucking hate when people talk to me in the bathroom. I feel so weird.
I do.
I don't think that it helped that the first thing I said was, hey, you want to joust? But oh, okay, that didn't happen. But
everybody knows the answer was yes, or we wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
Good God. But yeah, just that story fascinates me. I'm always like, it's so crazy to me how like you can just like meet people at con, and this is an extreme example, obviously, but like I've met so many of my closest friends at cons, and I've met like just like the people I talk to almost daily in my life have just been like random people I met at cons. And I think that's so crazy how cool that can work out. And all of this is to come back to your friend saying that you can come to stuff in Phoenix now. I'm excited, and I will do my best to make you do panels with me.
What I should have did, or you can add this in post. We'll go, okay, now back to the movie. and then like, so I'm just going to do the doodle-a-doot sound right now, and you can put it in at the beginning when we start daydreaming on this hour-long background story. So I'll go,
oh my God.
That's a Wayne's World reference if you didn't know. I don't know if you like Wayne's World.
I quote that movie all the time.
Sure, as if.
I usually don't get to put my favorite movie quotes into daily life, but it's what I try to do. Like I'm on like this mission in my life to get all of my favorite movie quotes in a proper conversation. You have
an app or something that you can mark them off as you go through?
No, they're just in my head. But the last time I went home, my mom was getting rid of a bunch of my stepdad's stuff. And she literally went, "Do you want a gun rack?" And I was like, I have waited my entire life for this moment. And I got to hit my favorite quote from Wayne's World. A gun rack? A gun rack? I don't even own a gun. It was so
not alone enough to require a rack.
She was so confused, and I was like, this is the best gift you've given me in my entire life.
Yes, I will take this gun rack.
But no, I don't want your stupid fucking gun rack. But yeah, so that's just another stupid tidbit about me. All right, let's pull it into this movie. So normally, like a half an hour ago, I would have said, "Why'd you pick this film?" But I came to you about the film. So what is it that you each like about this film?
I like that you see a bunch of dogs get killed because everybody always says you don't kill the dog, and that's like the best thing when you have a movie and they have the nuts to do that. It's just like killing a kid in the movie. Like they say, you don't kill the kid. Well, you don't tell me what I can't do, because then I'll definitely do it. And this movie, boy, does it kills dogs. There's at least 3, I'm sure. Like you get a dog death within
like
5
5
minutes. Then about 15 minutes in, you get another one, and then another one happens later on in the movie. And it's not like normal deaths. Like this shit is like gory as fuck. Like, so that's one thing I love about
over here.
And then I also like the werewolf titties. Okay, Allison, why do you like this?
I really just like the allegories and like the commentation on, is that a word? It's not a word.
Sure. Anything's a word if you say
it. on the teenage girl life, and in the tropes, like it's very classically like late 90s, early 2000 tropes, which is great.
Absolutely. I think the thing that I liked the most, I'd seen it once before and not for quite a while, to the point that I really didn't remember it going in. And the thing that really stood out to me this time was just how all of the male characters are completely one-dimensional, completely forgettable.
They're caricatures.
They're just there. And I was like, man, that is beautiful in and of itself. Like, that is so glorious.
It is. They're so amazing. Like Allison said, that they're caricatures, but they're not even like, they're worse. Like they're below a caricature. Like whatever that would be, that's the level that they are. Like they're written so bad, and it's so great because that's usually the opposite you get.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of the point. Is like they play the role of many women play in movies like this, where they are just there to be a plot point at certain points and unnecessary the rest of the time.
Yeah, I think we were about 10 minutes into the movie this watch, because I've seen it several times before. We actually watched it a couple months ago with another one of our friends. But so I looked to see who like the director and writer. So it's like, okay, I need to see if a guy wrote this or if a woman wrote this. And the main writer, I didn't write her name down, but it was a woman, but it was directed. The director, he also did the TV show Orphan Black, which is a really good TV show too.
And a very strong feminine show.
Yeah, because like this one actress plays like 9 different people in the show.
Nice.
So,
I have not seen it, but I've heard very, very good things from everybody I know who watches it.
So it made me feel a little bit better about going in, about even like the stuff they had the girls say and do. Because if you look at it and it's like a dude wrote it and then a dude directed it, and dude produced it, like there's no like, women, doing anything on the movie, and it's about teenage girls, like it would be weird. So it's like I was gonna like hold my opinion about the movie based on that. But like when I saw like what this guy has went on to direct, which is like very strong feminine led TV series and movies, so I had faith that it was going to be, written pretty well and directed.
But that's the thing is, like, a lot of times with movies, like your writer is like your main source, but in this one, it wasn't the writer. She's the screenwriter, yes, but the director's the one that had like the original like idea and premise and wanted to do this movie, and like overall like had the overarching story, because he's the one that took it to her, and she was like, I don't know about doing a horror movie, but then she went ahead and did it. But like, so yeah, it's great there's a female screenwriter, but the fact that the director seems to be very in touch with like what's happening in a female world, or within the female gaze and within the female realms, like very similar to like my favorite horror author, Grady Hendrix, who always writes also from a female perspective perfectly.
Agreed.
So yeah,
Grady's awesome.
Yeah, like I'm just like, I don't know how he knows these things, but because he treats women like, people.
What?
It's weird, right?
Talk. Why would anyone do that?
Weird that they have complex ideas and thoughts and that don't always revolve around a man, but that's weird, right?
What do you mean they're not just taking off their shirts for no reason? Who's writing this?
And what is it? Oh, hold on. So taking off their shirt and examining their own breast and commenting upon it whilst looking in the mirror. That is literally from a book called Off Season by Jack Ketchum, which was like, I do not, like, is the word. It was the worst. I was just like, this man has no fucking idea. Like,
yeah,
clueless.
Well, and I mean, it sounds like the director, like you said, that he had the original idea and then went to the screenwriter. Like, I don't know if this is true for Grady as well, but it feels like it is. Like, I feel like it's having these ideas and then going to people who live it and learning their experiences and then finding a way to piece all of that into what you're doing, right? And I see so many writers on Twitter who are like, I'm white, I can't write about black people, or I can't do that. You can. You just need to learn from people and like actually bring their experiences to the forefront instead of what your idea of their daily life is. You know,
actual people, not people that are nothing like what your character is going to be like. You had to find like the real stuff.
And that's the thing is obviously within any minority group, if somebody has a voice, that is the voice that should be heard, like 100%, like they're the living experience. But in certain situations, their voice is not allowed to be heard. Their voice isn't taken as seriously. So if you have someone who's willing to listen to their voice and relay those processes because their voice can be heard, fucking great, right? Like, that would be like what? Like, next best thing, I guess, technically, because best thing is their voice can be heard. But
yes.
Yeah, that's why. That's why at first, whenever I saw that it was a guy director, but he's also got a writing credit, and then like I saw like the other stuff. Like at first, I was like, man, but then like when I saw the other stuff he did, I was like, okay, because like you should like I really like, except for if this wasn't his idea, I would wonder why they just didn't get a woman to direct this. But like that's why I'm okay that he directed, is because like he had like all the ideas and like what he wanted. So. And he had the drive because it was a process for them to get this movie made. It took them like what, 2 or 3 years, babe? 4 years?
Yeah, it was, I think, 5 years for financing, and then there was a bunch of setback with it because they ended up having to get the Canadian government to pay for part of it, and the Canadian people, like, I don't want to say rioted, but they were upset, vocally upset about their tax money paying for this movie that is about teenage violence, because this was right after like Columbine and some other like very big teen shooting and like instances. And so they're like, why are we highlighting teen violence?
Man.
But yeah, but did finally get financing, even though people were really upset about the financing. And then it hit the festival circuits. It did really well in the festivals, like a couple festivals. It won a lot of stuff, and it was like very critically accepted, but not box office accepted.
So did it, I don't know if you know this or not, I'm just throwing this out, but like, do you know if it took off more like with like rentals and stuff, or like was there like some
Yeah, it was kind of similar to like what is it, Clue and Rocky Horror, where like they didn't do well in the box office, and it took a while. It wasn't until it hit rentals, and I think it was in rentals for actually a long time. It was kind of like one of those things where like finally people start like, oh, well, I haven't seen this one, I guess we'll try it, and then word of mouth will hit, and then it gained this huge like cult following. So now like to this day it has this like kind of cult following for the movie, even though it didn't do well box office. But Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's like almost 90%. Like it's critically very, like people who were watching it were like, hey, this got a lot of shit to say.
Yeah, and it did get 2 sequels.
Yeah.
Part 2, and then there's a third part that's kind of like a prequel, but it has the same actresses in it.
Oh wow,
it's weird. It's
weird.
I really wanted to watch the 2 sequels so we could throw like maybe a tidbit in there about them, but I remember part 2 is definitely not as good, and it follows the storyline after this movie, and then part 3 takes place in like the Renaissance or something like that in like Paris.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's like their ancestors, but it's played by the same actresses.
And I think they might be trying to, thinking about it now, they might have been doing that. There's a story that takes place in some city in France where something was killing people, and like story goes that it was a werewolf, and they made a movie a couple years ago about it. But I think they're trying to do a play on that because a lot of people have done like their takes on that. So I'm thinking that might have been what it was, but it was still weird. I was just like, why didn't you just, go further with the story instead of going back and doing this really weird like period piece? But apparently he wanted to. I don't know how well it did, and that's why I really wanted to give it a rewatch because, like, I didn't like it at the time, but like that was would have been right around whenever it came out, and it's like, so I would like it now because I'm a different person. We change, hopefully.
You're so much more hopeful than me. I'm like, oh no, I hated that shit. I'm never watching that.
I was going to watch it for the show because I wanted to give 110%, especially since Don's not here.
He's trying to do the extra credit.
Damn it, Don. Don would know the entire history of France and rattle it off for you. So
right.
Sorry, we don't have that. Meanwhile, I'm like, France, I've heard of that. No, we love France. France is one of our favorite countries on this show. But I think one of the other things that I just adored about watching this was like, there's the obvious connection of once a month you become a werewolf, once a month women have menstruation, like that's so obvious, but they did such a great job with it. Like it didn't feel overly forced. It didn't feel like a stupid joke. And it didn't feel disrespectful to me. And I feel like that could be a very thin line that could get disrespectful really fast.
I think it's really fun because like it is so obvious that that's what makes it funny is because they're not shying away from it. But at the same time, it's literally showing how women getting their periods was scary to men.
Mm-hmm.
Like that it became this infection, this disease, they're tainted, they're this, and it pushes it so hard that you're like, look at how fucking obvious this is. This is what you're demonizing this natural process to be.
Yeah. That's hilarious how they
you're
did that.
Making it a nightmare.
I know Allison, she brought up when we were watching it, about how when the guy, he starts turning, like he has all this extreme acne because that's kind of like what happens when you hit puberty. Like you start getting all pimply and stuff.
Yeah, and how much more aggressive he got from it.
Definitely a lot more aggressive because he was already a shitbag and now he's like a shitbag on steroids.
And then he was going after that underage girl. No, I mean, he was attacking a child.
It was a boy. Yeah.
Oh, it was a boy. Okay. It was
yeah, because
I'll just revoke that joke then. Sorry.
Because like when B is like, "What the fuck are you doing? Let him go." She says, "Let him go." It was like some boy. I think he was dressed as a cow.
Yeah.
Or no, as a puppy. He was a Dalmatian puppy. That's what it was.
Because he was killing more dogs.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, "Oh, funny, it's a dog."
I didn't even realize that. That's hilarious. The reason why we know this movie so well is because we literally just finished watching it like 5 minutes before we got on this call because we hadn't was able to do our rewatch again since we watched it like 2 or 3 months ago.
Nice.
So it's like super fresh on our brains right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic though.
I just don't have this movie memorized or anything. So
I mean that's a lot better than like jumping on, having not seen the movie in years,
ever,
accidentally mentioning other movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the part about halfway through when Matthew Lillard starts humping the dead dog.
I don't know what you're talking about. But no, I go back to the Phoenix Fan Fusion panels we were talking about, and we did bold horror statements where you make a crazy statement and you try to convince the audience that you're right. And sometimes we say things purposely to get booed out of the room, like the time I said that the best thing that Stephen King ever made was Joe Hill, and the entire audience turned on me very quickly. That was fun. I really didn't know if I was going to get out of that one. But I remember Dawn saying, you have to kill the dog. And we had someone sitting up front who literally looked like she was going to start bawling just at this thoughts. And I had never realized how much people hate that. Like, it's become a conversation that we have a lot. Like, Don brings it up at many panels and just always tries to get that reaction from people. But I legitimately didn't know that people had such an issue with killing the dog. Yeah, go ahead.
No, they do. Like, there's websites and TikToks and things dedicated to literally, like, you can tell you if the dog dies.
Yeah, I found that out. And I don't have anything against it. I just literally had never considered it, because it's not something that ever fazed me. And yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning when I was saying what I loved about this movie was that they killed dogs and stuff, that was satire. That's not. I was just being goofy. But yeah, it is like, it does affect some people. And,
absolutely.
And like Allison was saying, there's like websites that like tells you, it's like, what is it?
DoesTheDogDie.com.
.com. Hey, look, third endorsement. So
sponsorship.
Woohoo.
But yeah.
It's so weird to me that people can so easily separate faux violence against people, understanding it's a movie, but they can't separate faux violence against an animal. It still triggers the same reaction in their brain as though it was real violence against an animal.
Well, and you have something like Cannibal Holocaust, where they fucking hurt animals and killed animals and filmed it.
Yeah,
I get that. And I even understand this. Like, again, I was just saying I had never considered it because it didn't faze me. But I guess like the only explanation I've heard that makes perfect sense to me is someone, I legitimately don't remember who, told me people sometimes deserve to die and dogs never do, because dogs are the most loyal, like all-encompassing love animals. And that's why they couldn't separate that. And I thought that was just a fascinating reason, because I do look at, some deaths in movies and I'm like, well, that reminds me of that asshole. Fuck them, so I don't know.
Yeah. I feel the same way about like cats too. Like if you have a cat in a movie and you're fucking with it, like I don't like that. And it's like, you don't even have to kill the thing if you're just like fucking with it real hard. Like, what was that movie recently that had that? And it was like fucking grotesque, and it just kept showing it and showing it.
Oh man,
I can't remember what that was, but it was
like this cat was in a box, right? And it's like, so they're going, and it's like it gets put as like a birthday present or something.
Yeah.
And like they open the birthday present, and you're like, okay, they're not going to show this, right? No, they show it, and then they continue to fucking show it for like, and it just holds there for like a minute. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, get this thing off the fucking TV right now. Like, what the fuck is your problem? And I was like, I wonder if this is what the people who, like, when they see, like, dogs die in TV shows and movies and stuff, if that's what they feel. If they feel like that visceral, like I literally, like, it almost made me vomit.
Yeah.
Smile.
Yeah, we did an episode on Don't Fuck with Cats.
Oh,
yeah.
And it was the worst thing I've had to do on this show. And nothing against the guest who picked it. Like, it was fine. Like, we do social commentary. It was fine. It was just me. I had such a fucking hard time with that movie. And I still think about it. And that was one of our early ones. It was like episode 20 or some shit, And like, I still, like, anytime anybody's like, what's the worst movie you've watched? I'm like, look, it's not that it's a bad movie. This is the movie that fucked me up.
Yeah, I had to, when we started it, I had to go and look it up. And because I was like, if this dude like got off, I'm not watching this thing.
Yep.
Because I'm going to fucking lose my fucking mind. It's like that the TV show Making a Murderer on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I started watching a couple episodes of that with Allison when it first came out, and I had to stop watching it. I was like, I can't watch this. And she's like, why not? I was like, because I looked up and this dude's still in fucking prison. And I was like, I'm triggered by that stuff. Like, I lived through like the West Memphis 3, and like what happened to like Damien Eccles and I think it's like Andrew Baldwin. Yeah, and the other two dudes, like what happened to them could have very easily happened to me if where I grew up and lived, if something like that had happened there. That I could have very well, but it's like, guess what? I wouldn't have Eddie Vedder and Peter Jackson, sending money to my lawyers to, fight to get them out of prison. And that's nothing against them, but it's like I would just be fucked. But it's like I love Damien Eccles. Like, he's out. Like, I follow him now. He's like a magician, and like now he's like this fucking karate guy. He's doing all these karate tournament stuff, but he's a really cool dude. So watching that thing, like, it triggered me. So it's like, you don't kill cats, or what that was called?
Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, don't fuck with cats. Yeah, I had to look and make sure that guy, something happened with that, or I was like, I can't watch this. Because it was bad enough as it was, but to know that motherfucker's still like out there. No, so I was like, no, I'm not going to watch this. But then I was like, okay, cool. So I can watch it.
Yeah. I just want to throw this in really super fast. Sorry. I'm not at all making fun of anybody who can't handle dogs being killed or cats or anything else. I will tell you straight out, I have an issue with stuffed animals being destroyed in movies, because I know they're really being destroyed, and stuffed animals are so tied into like my relationship with my kids and my relationship with my dad growing up. So I'm not bashing anybody who is upset about a real living creature, whether it's actually killed or not. Like, I totally get the empathy, because I have it for inanimate objects that look like animals. All right, go ahead, Allison. Sorry.
I was it. The movie was Smile that we watched for the cat, and then the birthday present cat, dead cat birthday present. And then what your friend said makes a lot of sense about the dog doesn't ever deserve to die, because dogs are inherently good creatures. Like, animals are innocent, right? So it goes along the line of like, an animal can't be evil. Like, an animal doesn't deserve to die.
What about Cujo? They killed him.
No, they did, but they demonized a dog that would have never happened. Yeller definitely didn't deserve to die. But so I get it. Like, I get why you would be more okay with even just a random person. Like, that person is not 100% innocent, no matter who you are. Everybody's done bad shit. So maybe they did deserve to die. We don't know what their past is, kind of thing. So I can see where your mind will justify why watching, the murder. And I think violence doesn't fit, because certain violence you can't watch against people, whereas murder is easy. Like, oh, they're dying, no big deal. Yeah. So yeah, I totally get where she would separate that with like between animals and people. And even like, then it also goes into the thing of like, you don't kill babies, because again, you have this 100% innocence. They have to get to be a certain age. I think once they turn like 2 or 3, then you can start killing kids in movies, but
don't watch Feast.
I'm just going to throw out the movie The Coffee Table for everybody for no reason at all. All right. Anyway.
So I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. And so I think it's cool that the movie was just like, we're gonna kill all the dogs. You're like, oh shit, it's a lot.
I get this. I get the stuffed animal thing too, because I get attached to like stuff or whatever. So it's like, if it was something that like what was that movie where they had the little rolly phone that just came out? It was like horrible. You know which one, babe? We couldn't watch it.
Skinamarink?
Yeah, Skinamarink Dink. That fucking movie. Like, we never ended up finishing it. We got, I don't know, half an hour or something into it, and I was just like, I can't finish this thing. But they had that little rolly phone. Like, I had one of those things, and it's like, I could totally see like something that I had tighter connection with, like, like you're saying, like stuffed animals, like seeing that, because that stuff is actually gone.
Yeah.
And it's like those things, like stuffed animals, like when they get passed along, especially if they're just with you your whole life, or if you're passing it from person to person, like those things, like they get so much love, and they have so much empathy, and they help you out so much. Like they become like living spirits. Like they become like a living thing inside of it. It may not be able to interact or whatever, but it's like it can like that's enough energy that it's getting put into it, that something's gonna take up residence in this thing.
Oh man, which Saw movie is it? There's a Saw movie. I think it's 3.
I was going to say
burn
3.
Stuffed animals
Yeah.
And I've never admitted this out loud, but that's the part of Saw that bothers me the most. Everybody knows I'm a Saw fanatic, and I love all the traps except we don't talk about the 7th movie. But yeah, that's what got me, because I was like, I know that those stuffed animals were really destroyed. And I think that's just such a weird thing that I'm stuck on this. And so I had to kind of make fun of it here, because, I do get why anything like, dogs, cats, inanimate objects, but like they really destroy these things. And I think that bothers me more because it's real. Yeah. And I also get why other people would just be like, it's a fucking stuffed animal. What's your problem? Like, but yeah, I don't know. The secrets you're learning as the show comes to an end. No.
Right.
Would it be better if they're like brand new stuffed animals than like they didn't have a past, like they came from like a warehouse?
Nope. It all bothers me. I don't know.
That's awesome. I get it though. I mean, it's like if you're an art fanatic and like you see somebody like destroying like a famous like the Mona Lisa. Let's say somebody broke in and like destroyed it, right?
Yeah.
Like
look at when
that would affect a lot of people.
Or when Notre Dame burned, like all of that, like that.
Yeah. Everybody, because there was so much history in that thing.
Yeah.
It made so many people upset, regardless of how they feel about like the religion. Yeah, the church and stuff. And like I had that same thing. I was like, but it's like that place transcends everything. That thing was an icon. And it's like, I think they're building it back. I know they're building it back. I just don't know how far along they are with it. But yeah, so I can totally get like inanimate objects, getting affected like that. So that's cool.
I'm totally looking up how they are with the construction, because now I want to know.
But yeah, Ginger Snaps, that's a good movie.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Never heard of it. What's that about?
It's weird.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Did we ever say what the movie was about?
No, nobody gets to know. They have to go watch it.
Oh yeah, go watch it. Just know that if you don't like gory dog deaths, then
the dog dies in the movie. Like, just in case you didn't know.
And that's another thing, that we don't see a dog die. We see the aftermath.
Yeah.
And it's over the top in many ways. Like, it's so destroyed that it's almost unreal. And I kind of wonder if that helps as well.
I don't think you ever even see the dogs before they die. You only see them after. And the one dog
you see the neighbor's dog.
No, you hear him. He's just barking all the time.
Oh,
but I don't remember ever actually seeing him in there.
Maybe not.
But maybe they did.
The hockey kid, don't we see the dog with him before it dies?
No, her. So is the bully chick. She has a Rottweiler, but I don't think you ever see that one dead, because she comes over and is like, I saw her take my dog, but like we never saw that. We never saw the aftermath of her killing that specific dog, because the dog in the park was not the same dog.
Yeah.
And that's when the bitch chick dies anyway. But so I think each dog, like the one you do see, you don't see dead. The ones that are dead, I don't think you see, unless you do see that little shit that barked all the time. But I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But that's kind of a fun trick with filmmaking right there, to do it that way.
Yeah, because I think you kind of lose that way. It's not as impactful, maybe, because you don't have a connection to those dogs, because all you're seeing is the aftermath. But I don't know.
It's not like in Milo and Otis.
Right.
What we're saying is, check out Marley and Me.
Old Yeller.
We're just listing movies where dogs die today. That's it. Let me just head on over to doesthedogdie.com and just read you the list. But
I want to say back to Ginger Snaps that these chicks, they're like at the beginning of the movie, like they're the whole movie, they're like super emo, but like in the opening scenes, just the way they're talking, they're just like, yeah, suicide's the ultimate, fuck you. I'm like, they're like so fucking emo. And then they had that whole quote where they're like, out by 16 are dead in the sea, together forever.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck? I had to write these quotes down because it was just so like emo and just like, ugh, like it was ridiculous. And then like Bridget, man, she dresses like she's going to like Catholic school or something. Like it's just ridiculous, like how they dress her at the beginning of the movie. But me and Allison, we both agreed that they have like this murder, like the opening credits are like these photo shoots that they do where they have them like fake killing each other and like shooting the pictures of it, and the shots are actually like really cool. Like they did some really cool shots for that. So it's like that would have been a really fun shoot, like seeing those days when they'd probably spend all day to just take one photo because like there's so much blood and gore in it. But it's just like,
and they're so perfectly framed, and like that had to take forever. That'd be so cool to see.
I don't know why they don't. They should have released those as like a picture book or something. But I don't think it's out there because like I would have probably heard of it at some point. But it's like they should have released those pictures because I think those are like pretty cool. I think people would like I would want something like that. Like if I were to meet one of the actresses, I would want something like that to be signed instead of just like a regular headshot or like a shot from the movie. I would rather have like one of those things from the movie. I think that would be a better option.
Yeah, they could package it as their school project. Like the packaging can look like because that's what the pictures was that school project they were doing. So like the outside packaging can be like them like turning it in as the school project or whatever.
You got contacts in Hollywood, James.
Do it. Make it happen.
Yeah, make this happen. You find out who owns the rights to it right now, and you make sure this happens.
Kickstart it.
Get it kickstarted.
Man, I look back to when I was in high school in photography class, and I went to Catholic school, yay. And every single picture for the whole semester was like statues in the cemetery. Like no matter what we had to do, like if you had to do like a blur shot where like somebody's running, we had them run through the cemetery. Like every single thing I did, and I was constantly talked to about that. Like, what's your obsession with death? And I was like, why do you keep telling me about this dude on a cross? What the fuck are you talking about? But but I look at that and I'm like, I know how like it like put me on everybody's radar that I could be a problem child, and thank fucking God I graduated before Columbine, because I would have definitely been watched all the time for that shit. But I can't imagine these girls turning this in, and their teacher is just like he's weirded out, but he's still like pretty normal about it.
Well, he does send them to see the guidance counselor. He's like, y'all need a good talking to.
Yeah, his reaction though is pretty fucking hilarious. Like, you know, he's not like all over the edge, but he's just like, you can see like he's
annoyed.
Well, he's probably like, in my backstory that I gave for him today, he was like a vet, right? So he's like seen the shit. And so he knows what it feels like when the shit's about to go down. And like he sees the writing on the wall with these girls. So it's like he's there like freaking out slowly, but he's trying not to. So he's like, that's why he's like talking semi-calmly, but very forcefully about like seeing them later in the guidance counselor's office.
Separately.
Separately. And it's like, I was like, did high school teachers, like, do they wear like suits and ties? I mean, I don't know. James probably did because you went to fuck. I mean, they probably dress like nuns, though, right? I don't know how. Okay, I was gonna say I don't know how Catholic school works, but
now we had a lot of just everyday civilians. No, I don't know the right word, but they did. They wore like dress shirts and ties. Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind. I retract my statement. But I know where I went to school, like our teachers weren't. I don't know. There might have been one or two that did every once in a while, but not every day. You know, that would be like, well, never mind. I'm not going to make that joke.
I just want to know why this guy is still showing the class before he looks at it. Like, I feel like he's probably learned his lesson by now.
And he let the whole thing play.
Yeah, he didn't stop this
after the first one or anything. Like, oh, this is inappropriate. He's just like, we'll just watch this whole porno and it's fine, and then I'll talk to the kid after that turned it in.
Yep, exactly. That was so hilarious. He let it fucking play all the way through.
Yeah, he let all their death pictures just cycle through.
I thought that was wonderful. Oh man.
But yeah, he was and then You know, like his other scenes were pretty goofy as well. Like he always had like the same demeanor, like every time you saw him, like where he was just like, it should be something he should be freaking out more about, but he's not, but he's always stern with like what he's telling them to do or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dies.
He's phoning it in. That salary's not worth dealing with this shit. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. He has what is it, like a bridge game at 7? That's what he's worried about. What was that game that Olivia always wanted to play with us? Rummy?
Fuck. Yeah, Jen.
It's like, I'm not 78 years old. So
No, thank you.
Oh, man.
We're going to play a board game or a card game. We're going to play a real one. And she's like Monopoly. No, not like Monopoly. We're going to play a real one.
Good God. But you were talking about them being super emo. And I actually, like, that was over the top. But I also feel like I knew people like that. So maybe it's not over the top. But for me, it was so nice to see like these main characters like have multiple dimensions to them. And I know that we shouldn't have to talk about that, but we do. And like seeing like the mix of dark humor with the like agitation, with the whole teenage insecurity, and like they felt so much like very real teenagers to me. And that was, I don't know, like there's that thing in me that doesn't expect that at this time when movies were coming out and we were getting like the third Scream movie at this point, or, you know, and again, nothing against those, but like that's what we were used to. And then we get this, and I wish I had seen this at that time to like, I don't know, just see like this difference, you know?
Yeah, and I love how like self-aware they are of their world and what like how the world is and how much it's very like spelled out, because throughout the movie the one chick's like, that dude's trying to look down your shirt, that dude's trying to rape you, that dude's trying to, like, they're just calling shit out throughout the whole thing. This guy's an asshole, like, you know that, right? Like they're calling all that out, and then they're also calling out like when they murdered the one chick, and they're like, we're just gonna play off like women are nothing but sluts, this and that. They're not murderers. Like, we'll just let the world fucking do what the world's gonna do and cover it up for us.
Man, that was on point. That was so good.
I know, and it's still, this movie came out in 2000, and you know was probably in production before that, since they were having such a problem with that, and that's literally an issue that, as everybody knows, we're dealing with right now, and hopefully we don't get somebody else, and because that's going to become president. Because if that person does, then it's going to get even more fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to worry about that right now.
I had a moment watching this where when she gave that speech, I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be sweet if dad takes the rap for all this shit?
Right?
Like,
I really was hoping.
Like there's just dead bodies and they're like, he's a serial killer.
Especially because like the dead body they would have found, like, it's a young girl.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Who else would have killed her?
I don't remember what happens with the dad in the sequel. We may end up watching the sequel later tonight or something. It feels like it's later on in the day than it is. It feels like it's like at night, but in reality, it's like noon. But
I have that effect on people. They listen to me and they want to go to sleep.
No, it just feels like I've had a full day before this. But yeah, like, so in my head canon now, that's what happened. The dad took the rap until I watched part 2.
Yeah.
I think that'd be so fantastic. Like he picks up the fingers that he finds, so like his fingerprints would be on them.
Well, the mom had him in the fucking Tupperware because the mom was ready. The mom was ride or die for these girls. Like,
yeah, she is.
These girls, like, and like was Helen, I was like, they did not have a shitty upbringing. Their parents weren't shitty to them, but their dad wasn't even a fucking dick. Like, they had this essentially perfect suburban upbringing, and they're just rebelling so hard just for the sake of rebelling, right? There's nothing to rebel against for them.
It's kind of great in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes it so much more perfect that you're like, no, this is just how they are. This is just the way they want to be. But the mom is just like, you know, it's all right. I found these Dad finds the fingers. She's like, no, these are props. But she manages to Tupperwares and puts them in the fridge.
Yeah, she knows
like,
better.
I don't think these are props. And then she's like, you know, look. She's the one who digs up the fucking body and is like, yep, there's there's a dead person. And the girls killed this person. And she's like, you know what? No, it's all right. I'm going to fill the house with gasoline. I'm going to burn it fucking down. And me and you girls, we're just going to take off. And I was like, where's the dad? She said, fuck him. He's gone. She's taking her girls and going on the run, and she's going to protect them at all fucking costs.
Yeah, because Bridget asked, she's like, what about dad?
Yeah.
And she was essentially like, fuck him.
She was like, no big deal.
I want to know what mom's hiding that she's already prepared to burn this house
100%.
down.
See, that would have been a movie worth a prequel, and they could have had one of the girls playing her as like a teenager, like getting into some shit.
Yeah.
And maybe Ginger would have or maybe they would have became werewolves anyway. Maybe like
that's what I was hoping was like, it was like a family curse kind of thing. Like the mom was a werewolf. That's why Ginger was turning into a werewolf, because she hit puberty, and like her getting attacked by the werewolf was just because she was on her period, so he sensed it. So that's not what infected her. Like, I was going for that.
Mating, like he was having like the mating instinct, and then like it would make more sense if they would have did that. I think when I originally saw the movie, that's how I thought it was going to go, with like the mom's reactions to like stuff or whatever. And it's like they really, like, honestly, thinking about that would have been a really good way for them to have turned. Is that, have it?
She was always trying to ask them, like, "Oh,
about their period?
Time of the month, are you going to be going to be all these changes?" And I'm like, "Oh man, she's setting them up."
Way to go and
preparing them.
Me, babe.
Sorry, I made it better.
What you guys don't know is that she's having an affair with the dad from Teen Wolf.
Right.
Yeah. Holy shit.
No, I find all of that great. Like, I think that would be like, nothing against this movie, but I think that would really elevate it even more. And the whole idea that, like you said, the werewolf attacks her, but it's really like a mating thing. I think that would be just fucking phenomenal. Or even if that was the mom, like obviously it got destroyed by that truck. What a great way to kill a werewolf, by the way.
Yeah.
But like if you didn't do that and it was the mom like protecting them instead or something, like that could have been cool too.
What's weird is like, so this werewolf is like killing all these dogs, right? But it's like he can't, or she, whichever, I don't know which sex the werewolf was, but like,
never find out. Yeah,
they're having such an issue trying to kill her. Like, I'm like, it's really easy to like, for an animal that size to like bite you in your neck, or like, especially if they're dragging you off, like a lot of times, like canine animals will bite you in the back of the neck and shake, and that breaks your neck. That breaks their neck so that their prey can't get away, right? So like, she kept getting away. She got away twice, and he like pulled her off, like, or no, he got away 3 times, and he pulled her away twice. So it's just so weird that like she never died. Like you're saying, like it's almost like he was like trying to like mate with her instead of.
He was like trying to take her instead of actually killing her.
And I remember like and like when we were watching it, I was like, fuck, I was like, I don't even remember who this werewolf ends up being. And then right then is when he gets hit with the truck. And I was like, oh, that's why I don't remember who it ends up being, because he's a fucking pile of shit on the road now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they never even that teacher's missing, like
they never mentioned somebody else in the town, because I think that person was transient, because the dogs had only been dying as like, oh, the beast of whatever has been a news story and happening only for like a couple weeks. Yeah, so this has to be someone who just recently came into town
or recently got turned.
But yeah, it just seemed like, I don't know. It seems like
it could have been a teenage boy.
That's why nobody noticed that this person was missing, though.
Yeah,
it's a small town, or it comes off as a small town.
That makes sense.
Could have been another teenage girl, and that's why nobody cared.
No, they cared about that popular girl. It had to be an unpopular teenage girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she was the only black person that lived in town.
Oh man,
I was like, man, when we were watching it, I don't know if there was anybody that was not white in this movie. I was like, whoa, like.
There was just the janitor was.
Oh yeah, he was like Asian, right? But I don't think like did she have any like classmates? I don't remember any.
I don't remember any.
I don't
think everybody else was white.
That was it was super white. But it was filmed up in Ontario, so I don't know what the population is up there. It's not an excuse, but I'm just saying I don't know.
And I think it was filmed to be like a small town America, small town Canada, and like small towns, you tend to have less diverse population, unfortunately.
I know, it's unfortunate.
Yep.
On both ends, like they don't get to live where they want to, and be able to be comfortable there, and then the people that are growing up in that town, they don't get as easy an opportunity to experience a diverse culture. I mean, now it's a lot easier because of the internet and stuff, but back in the day, like when the internet,
if it wasn't around you, you didn't know it really.
Yeah, so it sucks on both ends, because then you get that person coming up and they'll either have two things, either like they might become the same or worse, or they'll be the opposite, where they want to go out and see all the culture, because they knew what they're missing out on being in fucking small town Ohio, where this movie was not filmed. But something that I think did happen in Ohio, I think the Trick or Treat movie takes place in Ohio, I think, because it's supposed to take place in like middle America, so it might be Ohio. But this movie feels like, the way it's shot and the way it's like lit, it feels like it's a segment from the Trick or Treat movie by Mike Dougherty, I think.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
And it's like, I was like, and when I told her that, I was like, is it just because I'm remembering that the wraparound is the
werewolf girls?
Yeah, they end up being werewolves. I was like, I don't know, maybe not, but it's like still, like how it looks like visually. I was like, I wonder if like that had any influence on
these girls could have been part of that girls' pack.
Well, yeah, and what I told her, I was like,
that'd be fun.
I was like, in my head canon, like this takes place in the same universe as like Trick or Treat and like Krampus, and I think there's supposed to be another movie coming out that actually takes place in the same universe.
Oh, nice. Huh.
But yeah, I really like the way it's shot, and like it's actually written really well. Like I said, I love the fucking shit, the shitty male characters that they have. It's like, it's so great. And like Allison was saying, the dad was like, he wasn't an asshole dad. He was just like a
absentee father.
Yeah,
he's just kind of there. He
was just kind of there. You see him bicker with the mom a couple times, and like he was kind of like, what the fuck with the kids a couple times, because of when they did the
teenage attitude.
Yeah, or the when the popular girl dies in the kitchen, and then they cover it up as a photo shoot.
That's great.
Yeah.
And
he's like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah. But it's like in reality, what would happen? It's like like these parents are so used to these kids doing this stuff. Like that's why they didn't get grounded, because the mom was like, better be sparkling in like 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So she just didn't give a fuck. She's like, what did I tell you about doing this at home? And it's like that right there is really cool. Like that her mom had to let them explore themselves.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she said too, was like at the end, I think the B says something to her about, oh no, she's okay. She just, she really appreciates your hands off of the parenting and kind of letting us do our own thing. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys noticed. I really hope that was working. And I was like, oh, I don't know if it was.
I know, like the mom, whenever she thought they were just that the sister was just a killer, she got all upset thinking it was her fault.
Yeah,
because of how like she just let them be into all this macabre stuff all along, and that's how that's how the narrative would be in the media, like if this were to happen, because unfortunately there weren't cell phone cameras back then that got all this on tape, so the media could make it anything they wanted it, and they would have been like, oh, look at this emo girl who got raised like a freak, and everybody in town would be like, oh, she's a fucking freak show. But in our reality, the dad took the fall. So
yeah.
How great is that moment where I lost her name. What's Bridget's sister's name?
Ginger.
Jesus Christ.
As in Ginger Snaps.
Oh my God, is that why? I was waiting for like those little cookie like
little cookies.
Yeah. But Jesus. I'm gonna leave that in. I'm not even gonna edit it out because I'm an idiot and I don't know why people listen to me. But that moment where Ginger has the bloody hand and she reaches up and she's like, corn syrup, you want some?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was so wonderful. I was just like, how great would it be if Dad had like
Yeah.
I wanted some, but I was also like, then you get this gross moment where Dad's licking her fingers, so I don't want that. But I don't know. It was a really funny joke to me because she knows he's not going to do it, and it's just such a great way to sell it.
Yeah, he was too straight-laced.
I feel like he just, like you said, he's not a bad dude. He's just like more or less not even giving up, but he's just letting people do their thing. And then he occasionally tries to help a little bit, but he's just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm just here. And I get why Mom would hate him for that too, Like,
yeah, because he's not involved.
So well done. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I might be hitting that point in my life right now.
I feel like I've been there for a while. So yeah.
Like I really do. I feel like my give a fuck to help in and be involved in stuff is like gone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need a break.
Yep.
What's that midlife crisis creeping up?
Man, I don't have the money for that.
Let's
see.
All the male characters are just kind of there, and they, like I said, they serve a purpose at specific points. Even the like helper guy, like the older dude that I thought was going to be more problematic, they ended up being, which was nice because he was like, I'm not asking for that at all, but I don't know. The bitch girl kind of may seem like he did that to her, so I don't know. I don't know where they were going with that one, but again, he was. Yeah, she dies, so we don't know. But it even with him being like a main character as opposed to all the other men are background characters, he still is not a fleshed out character.
Nope.
He's a source of information. Like, so he's a book, and that's it.
Basically. Yeah, he can only show up and do exactly what he needs to do. There's no other arc going on. When he's not on screen, he's standing in one place waiting for the main character to come.
Exactly.
He reminds me of, do you know who Thomas Dekker is? He's an actor. He reminds me of that guy for some reason because like that's pretty much every time he was like in the, I think he was in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And he was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I pulled up his picture. I know who that is. Okay.
But it's like he kind of plays like the same, like that same dude, like in every movie he's in, where he's there just to do the one thing he needs to do. And then nothing more, nothing less. And it's like really forgettable. But like, that's just Thomas Decker's character in like every movie he's in. It's just like how this guy is. Like, he's there to show up, sell these kid weed, and then drive away and look at this chick.
And occasionally run over werewolves.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, let's see. I wrote something else I wrote down was that for a movie to come out in like the 2000, like the music fucking sucked in this thing. But I guess because Lionsgate, I'm guessing, didn't probably invest too much money. They probably just did like distribution on it.
It was essentially crowdfunded as crowdfunding was at that time, where you get 800 billion production companies to give you a little bit, and then apparently the Canadian government give you the rest. So I don't think they could afford some good music.
That makes it a little bit understandable. I didn't know about that earlier. I wrote that down as a note that the music was really bad. I also wanted to talk about how much I would love to have a tail like these chicks, dude. At like, it's a big deal. Like, if I could grow a tail, I would have a tail. That would be so cool.
But not this fleshy tail like that.
It's gonna
if
have.
If it had hair, it would be fine.
They were growing hair all over their bodies, so it's like that hair's gonna grow in that tail. We just saw the tails when they were babies. Give it a little bit.
Okay.
I'll put a sock on it until it's hairy.
Oh man.
But I thought that was really cool, and I like the effect, except for like the final form of her werewolf. I think all the other effects and the stuff look really, really good. This is something about the final form of her I just did not click with me. It looked weird.
Well, I thought it was odd because we see the other werewolf, and the other werewolf doesn't have human facial features. Like I paused it because it's very fast when you see it, but like, I don't understand how her transformation is so different than whatever that person was.
Maybe it's just like the first time you fully turn, you're all weird, and then like after that, it's not. I don't know. It was weird, and it
And her
took me out of the movie
final
at the
form
end.
might not have been her final form. That was just her most aggressive form at the time.
It's true.
But we loved what they did with her, like her evolution throughout the movie, like her getting the fangs and
the subtle fangs, and then the bigger ones, and then the subtle nails, and then the bigger ones, and
then her eyes. They changed her eye shape. They made it where like she had these really deep indents, like on her nose line,
the inner corner. Yeah, it was really cool.
It looked amazing like that. And I didn't like her when she had like the full head of blonde, but when she had like the rogue thing going on, where she had a little bit, then it was a little bit more in her red. Like I thought it was cool. But like her being full blonde, I didn't like that. And then her final form that we see as her as a werewolf, I thought it let me down. Like you said, like it should just look like that. How the other one did, it shouldn't have any human features. It should just be like a giant wolf.
Well, and it's not like we don't know who she is. Like it's not like we needed the facial features to go, oh, that's Ginger. Got it. Like,
is that who that is? Is that why that movie's named this?
I don't know. I'll find out and let you know. But yeah, I don't know. It was just disappointing to me. It just, I don't know. I wanted it to look more like a regular werewolf, I guess, but it's fine. It's just weird to me that you would do two different things for your wolves. Like, I know the other one is just like a half a second on the screen, but I would make them look the same. I don't know.
So there is a quote that I wrote down when we were watching the movie. I did that Out by 16 or Dead on the Scene one. I wrote that one down. Another one I did is it was after Bridget cuts her hand and then gets infects herself. She goes, "Now I am you." And then Ginger's most excellent reply is, "I know you are, but what am I?" I was like, man, anytime somebody can quote Pee Wee Herman, like I'm down for it. Like as dumb as a line as that was at that part, like I'm sure whoever wrote that line and had the idea behind that loves Pee Wee Herman just like me. So, I can get down with it.
I'm just amazed at how you brought that full circle from mentioning Paul Rubens earlier. So
yeah.
That's why I'm a professional podcaster sidekick, baby.
Meanwhile, I don't know the name of the movie. Good God. But yeah, I'm still stuck on this werewolf transformation thing, and you kind of mentioned the fangs, and I thought that was such a cool way to just like keep it going and show what she's constantly going through. And I think that really plays symbolically into the menstruation thing as well. Like, even if we're not, it's not us, like it's going on and it is affecting people and whatever else, and I don't know. I thought that was just such a cool way to throw that symbolism in of it's not just the moon comes up and you become a wolf like so many fucking movies. It's like this ongoing process instead. And I thought that was a really neat thing. And then obviously like not needing silver to kill the wolf. It's not like the grill of his van was silver or some shit, like I thought it was nice to hit werewolf tropes, but still subvert them enough to keep it interesting and make it feel more organic to the world of this film.
Right.
Yeah. So sorry.
No. Are you going to talk about the boy when he was changing?
No, I'm going to not.
Okay. Well, say what you're going to say, then I'm going to talk about the dude real quick.
Okay. What I really like with the pushing the whole, like it being a metaphor for, her having her period and going through puberty and all this other stuff is like her physical transformations that we can see, like, so her teeth and her nails, no one else has noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very telling of like, there's these changes still happening within you going through puberty that are happening on the inside kind of thing. Like no one else can know, but you're being affected by it still. Yeah. So yeah, it is definitely a good kind of playback that they're showing, like she's having what we can see as outward changes. And so she can see them, like this is what she's focusing on. Like this is, but no one else notices kind of thing. It's like having a zit, like you see it, no one else is really paying that much fucking attention to you, but you think they are, and you think, oh my God, everyone could see exactly what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's.
I totally agree with that. I feel the same way. Like when there's something, like she said, like a zit or something like that. It's like we'll come home and I'll have one. I'll be like, what the fuck, babe? Like, you let me run around with this thing all day?
Literally didn't see it. No one else did either.
But going back with like the slow transition, the kid, the boy, the teenager, the douchebag, like that's the best thing they did with him is like when they showed him like changing, and he had the same things too with like, we already talked about him having all the acne, but like, and being more aggressive, but he had this stuff too where like I think his ears might have gotten a little pointy.
He had teeth,
he had teeth and stuff like that. So like whoever they did,
nobody said anything about it.
No
one was like that guy looks weird today.
Yeah, like how did that guy get to school when he right before he went and tried to kidnap that little kid? How did he get to school looking the way he did? Like he looked like super creepy.
Yeah. But like I said,
you know what? It was Halloween, so maybe that's why in that case nobody really noticed anything, because the kid was dressed up like a dog. Dalmatian. You said, right?
Yeah, it was Dalmatian.
Yeah, because you made that relation that he was trying to kill another dog, but this was a human dog.
But he had the teeth and everything the day before, and so still nobody acknowledged these physical traits that were popping up, which I thought was cool.
It's pretty great. This script is like way deeper than
you'd think about it.
I would expect, yeah.
Like you think it's just a stupid, werewolf movie. But it's not. Like, it's actually pretty well written, and it's like they actually flesh out female characters and they flesh down the dude characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only nudity you get is like fake nudity. It's the werewolf boobs,
the werewolf boobies, and then the pre-werewolf.
Yeah, I think you get it like twice, and it's like that's cool because if you go and you find any R-rated werewolf movie out there, I guarantee you they're going to have at least 3 sets of tits in the movie at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like it's cool that like you wouldn't think that this movie would be, and that's what this whole show is about. Your podcast is about the, looking deeper into the stuff.
Oh shit! Is that what I was supposed to be doing? Fuck.
Well,
don't listen to our Cocaine Bear episode.
Did you ever watch the Slaughterhouse?
I have not yet, but I've seen a couple of the kills. So,
dude, I like that movie better than Cocaine Bear.
Well, that's because you're insane. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what that's literally what I told Allison whenever it was either like halfway through it or at the end. I was like, James gonna be pissed. And she was like, why? I was like, because I'm gonna have to tell him that this movie's better than Cocaine Bear.
I don't have a problem with that. My real love of Cocaine Bear, while we're talking about it, is how fleshed out every single character is and how they all have their own stories going on. And I just don't expect that at all in a movie like that.
Right.
But if you watch Cocaine Bear, it's very slow. There's so much time between kills and stuff. And also not what I expect in that kind of movie. And I don't know. I just really liked pushing it on everybody that it was the greatest movie ever. But now it's The Coffee Table. Go watch The Coffee Table and blame me later. But the podcast will be over by then and you won't know how to reach me.
Oh, shit. We still know where you live.
Damn it. Never should have posted my address all over the internet like that. What was I thinking? But one of the other things I wanted to talk about was just there is such a interesting way of showing how society perceives women who embrace their desires and assert themselves. This movie like instantly shits on Ginger for, oh, she's a slut, she's whatever, and it's like whether it's the sex thing, whether it's attacking people, whether it's even just fighting Bridget or anything else, she is just fully in charge of what she desires and fucking going for it with no concern for how anybody feels about it. And I think it's so well done in this that I almost would say that like I wasn't even thinking about it when I was watching it, like it just feels organic and great. But like as I was thinking about it later, I was like, this is really just absolutely owning what you want. And I think that's so wonderful.
Yeah, it doesn't happen for, especially like in horror movies, really for female characters that often that they really get to. And it sucks because it does super highlight that the moment she does anything, she's immediately, oh, you're a slut. She's like, I didn't even fucking do anything. And then even it translates on to her sister because she's like, oh, you're just a slut. Because she literally did. She's like, I didn't fucking do anything. Like, it didn't matter though. It doesn't matter what you did. It matters what people say you did.
Yeah, even like before that, people were like ragging on them when they were just out there. Mm-hmm. I think they were smoking, and like the one dude's like, oh, I want to fuck a Fitzgerald or whatever whatever their last name was. It's like,
yeah,
and it's just like they were already, like you had this opinion of them that was like very low, and it's like, well, just because they're weirdos, I guess. But it's like, yeah, like you're saying, like they all get jumped on like literally the second, like like you said, being slut shamed, even though when nothing has happened, and then like. Well, even like what's her face? Bridget even does that to Ginger whenever she found out her sister had sex. Like she was upset about it, and then she like asked about if she used protection. She was like, no, or whatever her response was, and and her sister got all kind of snooty about it as well. So it's not even like all like the other like it's not just the other characters like them as well. Like they're written that way where they have those opinions because that's like.
I think Bridget wasn't upset because she had sex. I think she was more upset because doing so, it was with the asshole guy, and that made her a normie. Because earlier she was like, "Don't go fucking normie on me." Like that's the more important thing. Was like not that she had sex, but that now she's going like mainstream and she's leaving her behind. And then also, you didn't use protect. You fucking infected. Like you are infected with something. Please don't do that. So I think it was cool to like her sister was upset about it and everybody was whatever, but like I feel like she wasn't upset because she just specifically had sex, but because who it was and like the fact that now that makes her a normie and not weird like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, she definitely would have not liked it if the werewolf situation wasn't going on in this movie. She still wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah,
she was a normie and a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I mean, there's like the small connotation of symbolism of STDs there and stuff like that as well. And I thought that was interesting that like the werewolf thing could be passed that way. Maybe I haven't seen enough movies, but I've never seen it done that way. And I thought that was pretty interesting. She just bit his neck while they were making out or anything,
Yeah, I may have seen one other that happened in, but I may just be getting it confused with this movie. But there was another movie where something like that kind of sort of happened. But like you said, like you think like that would be something that would happen a lot, like because it is like it's almost always, the curse is usually transmitted through like a bite or bodily fluid. So that would definitely like unprotected sex would definitely be a way that you could get it. And it's weird that it's not explored more. Like you think like somebody would have did a movie where they're taking kind of like maybe like the AIDS or HIV epidemic and like do it from a using the werewolf, but I don't think that happened.
I'm looking. I don't have anything else in my notes. What do you guys have that we haven't hit yet?
Dudes suck. I wrote that down. I said the dad is clueless, but the mom could be the best mom ever, ? Oh, I also said something about like we should talk about dog soldiers. Have we talked about dog soldiers on here yet, or was that before?
That was before.
Oh, so when we were talking before this, we talked about dog soldiers. Okay. Just had to say that.
I
think we've talked about it at panels too. But yeah, go ahead.
It's an awful movie. And like, and that's the thing. It's like it's awful. It's a terrible movie. It's not good, but people love it and people talk about it. Oh, it's one of my top favorite. Where I'm like, it has nowhere near the depth that this movie has.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So much more well known.
And that's what we were talking about. We're saying that how is it that Dog Soldiers is more well received, in the horror community than Ginger Snaps was back when it came out, and like even like now, like you don't hear a lot of people talk about Ginger Snaps, but like Dog Soldiers is pretty forgetful. Like, yeah, I'll think of it, but it's just like it's not gonna be. It wasn't anything great, and it wasn't anything that just sticks in my mind all the time. But people act like it's better than American Werewolf in London.
Mm-hmm.
We were even saying like was an episode of, what was it, the Creepshow episode where it was a werewolf episode.
Oh yeah.
And that was more well done than fucking Dog Soldiers was. Like that was really cool because that one, like each one of the werewolves was like a different form. Like they had like a different stage of werewolfness. So like you had like the man beast one, like the werewolf kind of one, like the full wolf. Like you had like all these different versions of a werewolf in this one episode and shit. And it was like really cool. And I said, well, way more well done than fucking Dog Soldiers yet. Like I said, it's
yeah. I can't remember who wrote or directed that, but I know I listened to them on a podcast, and they're talking about how they wanted to put them in as like because the people all got turned by the same werewolf like lady, and so it was showing that like as like which gen you are going down, like you get less and less of the wolf. Like the first one that was turned by her was more like a wolf. Then the second one was like lesser down a little bit, and then the final form or the final one was just like barely like just a barely a man wolf or whatever, like a werewolf.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like he said he did that on purpose because he wanted to do like the Wolf Man, then like a full wolf like American Werewolf in London, and then do another one that was just like like in between, like the man like American Werewolf in London, Man Beast, and then I forget what the other one looked like, but like he wanted to do like the 3 different variants that were like really well known, but I can't remember who directed it. But
that's cool.
He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
So is American Werewolf your favorite werewolf movie?
I would probably say it is. I like it. Like I remember when I was a kid, like The Howling probably scared me more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I like American Werewolf. Not that American Werewolf in London is not scary. Like it is. Like it's horrific stuff. Like that wolf in there is a fucking beast. But it's just like there's stuff that I saw in the transformation in The Howling was scarier to me than the transformation in American Werewolf in London. Like that transformation just looked like it hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like he's just yelling and screaming, but like in The Howling, it's like scary. They're like ripping like their faces like coming out of their mouth, and then they're like eating their skin and all this shit. It's crazy. So it fucked me up as a kid. So I think that's why I like that. But it's like I really wish there was more werewolf movies, and I know there's a lot, but it's just like it seems like there's always could be more that could be better.
There's not that many that actually kind of hit that mainstream where most people have seen them. Like there's very few like super popular werewolf type movies.
Yeah, I know Wes Craven did one called The Curse or The Cursed, and it has like Christina Ricci in it, and it was one where it tested so bad that they went back and like reshot a huge part of that movie, and I have it on our watch list. I want to watch it, whichever version that I can find online, because I hadn't seen it since like whenever it came out. But like if Wes Craven can have such a problem, like and this was like post Scream. This was like after Scream when this happened, so it wasn't like it was like in a lull in his career. Like his career was popping because he was pumping out Scream movies every couple of years.
Jeez. What about you, Allison? What's your favorite werewolf movie?
Teen Wolf. No, I'm just kidding.
Teen Wolf isn't. It is.
It's an excellent movie. I don't know. Werewolves Within was really good, and then I really liked but that's like not really like a werewolf movie. Like, I don't know. I kind of have a problem with a lot of werewolf movies because I feel like they all are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
That it makes it really hard for one to just be like, oh, this was like such a really good, unique concept.
I really like the portrayal of Wolfman in Monster Squad because he was like super classic. All their characters in the movie Monster Squad like were like classic representation of the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
Just like the guy who played him, he was like really, really good. but I think I prefer a more bestial werewolf over than a wereman. Yeah, like a man wolf or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but my favorite werewolf movie is Wolf of Snow Hollow. And if you've seen it, you know why I get hate for that. But like I don't know, it was so different that I loved everything that they did with werewolf lore in it. And then, you know.
Right. There was a movie that had, I'm gonna look it up. Never mind. I'm gonna look. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf. That movie is pretty good. It's like it's a foreign film. I think it's like French because it takes place in France, but it has the guy who's the Iron Chef on TV, that TV show or whatever. He's like, this is back when he was still doing movies and stuff, and he's like in it, and it's just like, let's see, in rural France, a mysterious creature is laying waste to the countryside, savagely killing scores of women and children. See, this is that story I was telling you about in France, about how like these people were actually dying over there.
Yeah.
So this is another movie that's based on that story. But yeah, it was a pretty good movie. But I can't remember if in the end of that, if it ends up being a werewolf or not, because I haven't seen it in forever. But it's a pretty cool movie anyway, because you have this dude in like fighting these people in France doing like karate and stuff, because that's what the Iron Chef does.
I mean, I really like even just certain segments of like, I really liked Trick or Treat's not a werewolf movie, but the werewolf segment of it is probably one of my favorite portrayals of like showing a werewolf story without it being like, it's very tongue in cheek, but it still has like an element of horror to it. So I think it's really cool.
What are our thoughts on Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2?
My thought is I haven't seen Teen Wolf 2, and man, I loved Teen Wolf.
Yeah, Teen Wolf's great.
Just don't compare Teen Wolf 2 to Teen Wolf, and it's pretty fucking hilarious. Jason Bateman in this thing as a fucking boxing werewolf is hilarious.
That does sound pretty great.
And it has the one dude from Pee-wee's Big Adventure who was in the first movie, the heavyset guy. He's in it. He's in part 2 as well. And then you also have Jason Bateman as a werewolf. They film it that he's standing on the ground and he jumps up on top of this building, but you could clearly tell that the person was on the building and jumped down. And they just like shot it in reverse. I'm like, why is he jumping up this building backwards? Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't see where the fuck he's gonna land. It was ridiculous.
That's how everybody jumps up buildings. Where have you been?
I think it's pretty funny though. And then there's also the Teen Wolf TV show. Like I watched it. It was put out by MTV. I watched it, the first episode, because it was like for free somewhere. And the only reason I watched it is because I wanted to talk shit about it. And like the first couple seasons of that show was actually pretty cool. Like some of the cool stuff they do with the like werewolf lore was pretty cool. And then they got into these other like banshees and like kitsune and the wild hunt and chimera and all these other different like creatures. It was pretty cool. But then like later towards the end, it just got, you know, to be lame. And then I think it had a spinoff that didn't do good because I think it got canceled after one season.
Wow. Yeah, I never saw it.
But the first couple seasons was pretty cool. Like if you're into like just seeing them, because they do like a slow transgression, because when he first becomes the werewolf, like for the first couple seasons, it's just like a puffy eye bridge, and he has like these sideburns and his chin comes out some, and he has like an underbite with fangs in it and stuff, and his like eyes glow. So it's like he doesn't even get nearly as hairy as Michael J. Fox does until like later on. And he's not out in the public in the TV show as well. It's like a secret thing. Plotting.
It's not like winning basketball championships or anything?
No, he's saving the world. You know, typical teenage TV show, CW. The apocalypse is always going to happen. And the only thing that can stop it is, you know, a teenage werewolf and his little band of friends in a small town in California. That kind of sounds like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, does it not?
My goodness. So I know we've kind of just done this, but for movie recs, do you guys have anything you want to throw out that people should watch if they watch Ginger Snaps?
I think what we could do is
Well,
instead
if they
of
like
Rex,
Ginger Snaps. Yes, go ahead.
we could do anti-Rex. Like, do not watch American Werewolf in Paris. That movie sucks.
I was going to make a joke about that when you were talking about werewolves in France. And
dude, I hate CGI werewolves like with a passion. They never look good, no matter who does them. Like, there might have been a time or two that I've seen one that looks okay, but like 90% of the time they look like trash. And like, if you're going to do a transformation and it's CGI, it's probably going to look like trash. They had that Wolfman movie that came out with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins like 20 years ago, probably now, where they're trying to reboot one of the failed attempts to reboot the Universal Monsters, and they had Rick Baker did the transformation for that scene, and the people at the studio decided to not use it and to CGI it, and it looked like shit. Rick Baker did American Werewolf in London, I'm pretty sure.
Sheesh.
But yeah, like they had this practical effect by this acclaimed artist guy, and they chose to do CGI for the actual movie because he had a test of what he was gonna do. So they didn't actually film it. He just had a test of what he wanted to do, and they're like, "No, that's gonna cost too much money. We'll just have a computer do it."
That's so weird how that's still happening when now we've had time to see how that shit ages.
I know, it's like, and worse than that is like we're having movies written by AI. We're having like there was a radio commercial the other day. All the voices on it, AI written, AI, and that's what the commercial was about. Was about how you can hire this company and they can use their AI technology and make you a commercial for a podcast.
Gross.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
that upsets me.
Yeah, Rick Baker did do the American Werewolf in London, and then he also did the test makeup for Wolfman that they decided not to do. So yeah, that's going to be my recommendation to not watch. Like, you can watch a bunch of them. Watch American Werewolf in London. Watch The Wolves of Wall Street. Watch Jack Nicholson's The Wolf. I'd rather watch Jack Nicholson's The Wolf over American Werewolf in Paris. It sucks. Their CGI werewolves are so bad. I think the best scene in Jack Nicholson's movie The Wolf is like he's in the bathroom like right after he hasn't turned yet, but he's like getting aggressive, and so because he works for like some big company. I don't know if they're lawyers or what exactly they are, but they're like big, $1 million fucking skyrise apartments in Manhattan, and he's standing there and he's like peeing at this wall urinal, and this guy comes up, at the urinal next to him and doing it. And he like pees on his shoe, and like the guy says something. He's like, "Just marking my territory." Oh, it was James Spader. It was James Spader doing it. James Spader's in the movie. He's like he ends up becoming the bad guy because it's Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, and James Spader. And so he like pees on his shoe, and he's like, "What the fuck, Jack?" And he's like, "Oh, just marking my territory," or some shit like that.
Good God.
Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, it's like this movie's ridiculous. But he never does he never does a full transformation in that movie either. He does just like the puffy face, like probably like 75% of like what the Wolfman looks like. He just has like the puffy face. They put a little bit of a wig on him, give him some sideburns and some fangs.
But does he like use a telescope to look inside a girl's bedroom like the Wolfman? Anyway.
He doesn't have to because he has like really good vision.
Excellent.
Excellent vision.
Well, I would say I would have, if you want to watch like recommended, like ones that have like kind of a similar feeling or vibe or theme, like Night of the Demons or May or The Craft would be very like kind of similar. Like you could do like a triple feature or whatever with those kind of movies, I think.
Nice. My double feature is Tragedy Girls. I think that it would roll really good with this, and
definitely
that movie's great. I think we watched it because of you. I think I think like you told me to check it out. Maybe.
Maybe.
But like it was a great movie. I remember we watched it before it got pulled down because it was on like whatever it was streaming on when it came out. It was there for a few days and then they pulled it down because it was getting such backlash. And then they ended up putting it back up.
Oh wow. Let's see. I just want to see if it's streaming anywhere right now. It's on Peacock right now. How exciting.
I know. Maybe we'll watch that later.
Yeah, we have an episode on Tragedy Girls, and people should check that out. We did American Werewolf, and we did Dog Soldiers, and The Wolfman, and I don't know what else. But no, I really think Tragedy Girls and Ginger Snaps would go fucking fantastic together. And there's some great kills in that movie, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I'm going to have to go back, and I'm going to have to look and see who's the writer-director for Tragedy Girls, see if it was a dude or a chick that did it.
Oh, and you still get that same like toxic codependent relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
For Tragedy Girls and same as like in Ginger.
Yeah, it is very much alike. That's so weird. I never even realized that till now. Holy crap. It is directed by and written by males. Yeah. But they did a pretty good job, I guess. I don't know like how relatable it was for other females or female presenting people. But to me, I didn't notice it but I haven't seen it in a while. I'm gonna have to check that out to see how good it is for like the character wise. But the movie itself is great.
Well, fantastic. I don't know. This is where I normally throw it back to you to do the social media thing. Do you guys want to do that or not? Or I don't know.
Yeah, we can. Before that, I just want to tell everybody that may not know what a great person that James is, and Don is as well. But Don's not here, so he's getting drunk on a cruise. But James is going to have to hear this. Like James has had some really, really, really cool people on this show, like famous people, like writers who have written like amazing books, writers who have written amazing movies, people who have made amazing movies. And then he also has had schmucks like me and my wife on here. Like we're just like, and this is not even a joke. Like we're just like the common everyday horror fan. And James, put us on here, and it's like we've got to be on here forever. It's going to be around that our voices are recorded and our names are logged alongside some of the talent that they've had on here, and that he would do that to just a normal person like that right there. Besides anything else that he does, shows like what a great person that he is, and how he'll be there for you if you're a friend whenever you need help, and to talk you through stuff, because he knows what it's like to struggle. And he's just going to have to take these goddamn compliments. Like, we're just not going to take no for an answer. So that's our social media right there. Follow him. Buy his books. Somebody in Hollywood, give him a motherfucking movie check. Let's get this fat camp rolling. Yes. Come on, dude, from 6 Feet Under. No, you can cut that out.
Oh, man. Oh boy. Taking compliments is one of the hardest things in the world for me. So
I agree. I know. And like I know, like I had told Allison, because of things that I've been going through, because you can cut all this out, but like stuff that I've been going through lately, that I wasn't sure if I was going to be on this episode. Like I was just going to have it be her, because one, I'm not female. So it's like, and that's what this movie's all about. So it's like, do we need two white guys talking to this chick about this movie? Like we don't even have Don on here to like, give his perspective on it. And it's just because of where I was in my headspace. But then I was thinking, well, no, this is the last time. And at the very least, I had thought about like, if I wasn't feeling about being on the episode, I was at the very least was going to come on and say something like I was about to say, and then bow out of the rest of the episode and let you guys do it. But watching the movie today, I thought it was really good, and like looking into the stuff on it, and how could I resist sitting on here for like 2 hours chit chatting with you again? Because it's like anytime we talk, it's like, like old best friends just hanging out, shooting the shit. Like how we went on for 45 minutes at the beginning of this about nothing to do with this movie, and how many times we like went so far. And I understand that happens, but it's like it's just like a natural thing. It's because you make people feel comfortable.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's all I want. Like I just like cons or anything. I just want people to forget the fucking bullshit and enjoy life for a little bit.
Your awkwardness makes my awkwardness feel better.
Yeah. We can tell, like, when you're talking and stuff, like how nervous you are.
Always.
Sometimes, yeah, it's like, but you're doing it, and it's like when you're talking, like your voice don't sound like you're nervous. You're not like like you're you're a well-educated person. You know what you're saying, and you're up there speaking, and it's like, but you can tell like you're nervous, and it shows people that like doesn't like public speaking, and it gets nervous about that stuff, and like you said, awkward, that you overcome it. I mean, you don't overcome it, but you
cope.
Yeah, well, you push yourself through to the other side of it. You get up there and you do the thing, and it shows other people that we can try to be like James and do it too.
Wow, I appreciate that, and I'm not going to cut it because I might need to hear this again another time, and I don't want to lose it.
Just let Don know that since he's not here, that he better be watching out for a chair shot if he's running around with that belt on, because he's a wanted man now.
Dude, everybody's trying to take that belt. That thing is heavy. You need to like, everybody needs to work out first and like make sure you can lift heavy objects for long periods of time. Like,
yeah, I heard Don didn't have a problem because he does it every time he pees.
Yep, that's true.
Man.
And that's a wrap for the episode of Necronomy.com. I'm James Sabata.
And I'm Don Guillory. And we'll see you next week here at the Necronomy.com.